What is going on, everyone? My name is Under the Radar and welcome back to the PPL. Now, as you know from the Team Builder, if you did not watch the Team Builder, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but you got to go back and watch it. There will be a link in the description. It's on my channel. You got to go back and watch. It just went live yesterday. How could you have missed it? Go watch the Team Builder. I put a lot of effort into the team. I'd really appreciate if you guys would watch it. Give it a like, whatever. But as you guys know, we are going up against Slyro in the Pittsburgh Pyroar. Baltimore versus Pittsburgh. This is like a very iconic battle in football history. As you can see from the team that Sly brought, he did not bring like half the things I expected him to bring, honestly. He brought the Tornadus, the Mega Altaria, and the Hydreigon, which I all knew would be there. I knew it. But the Hitmontop, the Lantern, and the Roserade, I actually expected to be Bronzong, Cofagrigus, and Arcanine. So I was thrown off a little bit right away, and I was a little bit scared, honestly. Instantly, a Lomomola is 100 times less useful because it can't get Rocky Helmet off on the Arcanine. I can't Mirror Coat it. It is very useless. I can't Toxic a lot of things on his team because what it can Toxic, it doesn't really want to stay in on. It was made there to Toxic the Cofagrigus. It was very weird in Team Preview. I was kind of a little bit scared. But I do know what my lead is going to be because he did bring the Tornadus. I was like, he doesn't have Bronzong, so his only lead is Tornadus. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and hop right into the game. So as you can see, Sly is issuing the challenge, and as you all know, I'm going to lead off with my Electros. He is going to lead off with his Tornadus, just like I expected. It's the only lead on his team that he has, unless he wants to lead off with Roserade and get up spikes. I was kind of hoping he would go for a knockoff right there and I could OHKO it, but he went for U-turn instead, and I find out that he's Life Orb, which is 100 times more scary than Assault Vest. I was kind of sort of shitting myself. He's going to go into his Lantern, and I'm going to go for the Thunder Punch. He's not Volt Absorb, so he is Water Absorb, and I'm going to get like 50% off. That damage shows me that he is actually offensive, so I think he's Scarfed at this point to outspeed my Infernape, and that Thunder Punch put him down at 50%, so one more switch like that and he loses his Lantern. So he goes into his Hitmontop after the Volt switch, and he's getting the Intimidate off. I just went for another Thunder Punch because I was like, I can kill this thing, I don't really lose anything from it. So I'm going to go for the Thunder Punch, and I'm going to get off about 15% on this thing. After leftovers, it does minimal damage, and it's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to switch out, and I'm going to go into my Reuniclus. Reuniclus is kind of sort of like my all-around check to this thing because there's not much he can do to me. He does miss the first Toxic, which comes into play later on, which is very, very upsetting, and I do apologize for that miss. He's going to withdraw because he doesn't want to take a Psychic or a Psyshock or whatever. I went for the Signal Beam right there, expecting him to go into his Hydreigon just in case, and he goes into his Tornadus instead, and this is going to do pitiful damage. Like, that does absolutely nothing. I don't think he's able to tell if I'm offensive or not yet, so that's kind of good for me. I'm going to go right back into this thingy right here, the Electros, as he goes for the knockoff and knocks off my Assault Vest, which he gets a crit. Crit does matter because now he can kill me with a plethora of other moves to where if he hadn't gotten the crit, I could still live this Dark Pulse right here, which is whatever, I don't really care. It wasn't that big of a deal because Electros kind of sort of was useless this game because I couldn't really hit the things I wanted to hit super effectively, and I couldn't knock off the important things. So I go into my Lomomola right here, expecting him to knock off our U-turn, and I could Toxic him, but he goes for U-turn, and I get Rocky Helmet damage off on him, which is really important because now he takes Rocky Helmet and Life Orb, and that is absolutely fantastic for me. He's going to go into his Kim Jong-un, who is his Lantern, and as I go for the Toxic, and now this thing is basically useless. I think he's Scarfed, so I'm not going to stay in here and go for the Mirror Coat as he Volt switches with Thunderbolts, because that gives him a free switch into Hydreigon. F that. No thank you. No thank you at all. I would rather not. So I'm going to go right into my my Mushroom. My Moongus as he goes for the Volt Switch. And right here, I think he's going to go into his Tornadus. It kind of sort of comes down to whether or not he wants to go into his Tornadus or his Mega Altaria and get the Mega up, but he knows that he can take a lot of damage from it. He's going to go for the Air Slash right here, and I can take this pretty easily, but he is Life Orb, so it's not super easy. I'm going to go for the Sledge Bomb right here, trying to hopefully get a Poison maybe, and get some good damage off on this thing. That does a decent chunk of health, which shows me he has a little bit more than 96 EVs and HP, I think, judging by that roll. And now he's going to go into the Roserade. I can live one more Air Slash guaranteed, but I didn't really want to risk it in case you got a crit or flinch me, so I'm going to go right into my Alomomola, and now I'm going to pivot into my Amoonguss again, because I wanted to get a little bit more health back, and I wanted to scout this thing's moveset. So he's going to go with the Sludge Bomb. It doesn't do a whole lot, and I'm going to switch out once again and go into my Reuniclus, seeing if he has extra sensory. And now my Amoonguss is back up at full, which is always nice. It goes for the Hidden Power Fire over the extra sensory, so I guess that means that he is Technician, because that would do more than extra sensory, I think. Because I think extra sensory is like base 80. Not really sure. I haven't checked that real quick. But here he's going to go into his Hydreigon as I go for the Future Sight. Now this is kind of important, because now what I need to do is I need to force out this Hydreigon so something can take a lot of damage with this Future Sight. And right now I'm going to go into my Togetic as he's going to U-turn. I think he's Scarfed. I think he's running dual Scarfers at this point in time, because I don't understand what item he could be if he has U-turn. I figured he'd be Life Orbed, and I didn't see Life Orb, so I was like, Scarfed? But now he's going to go into his Roserade again, and I'm going to switch out here. I do not want to take a Sludge Bomb to the face. It's not worth it. It's not worth all that damage at all. So I'm going to go into my Amoonguss, take this Sludge Bomb, and now the Future Sight is going to go off, and this Roserade is just going to straight up die to the Future Sight, and that makes me happy. That was one thing that was kind of sort of a problem for me spamming Sludge Bomb, so I didn't really like it all that much. Right here is going to go into his Tornadus, and he's going to go for the knockoff and knock off my Assault Vest as I go for the Sludge Bomb. Now, Sludge Bomb from this range is a 2-hit KO. I didn't think that he was saying to go for another Air Slash. I figured he would switch out because he needs to save this thing. So I figured I just went for another Sludge Bomb, and I lose my Amoonguss because of a massive over-prediction, and that was totally poor play on my part. But I can still bounce back from it. I just have to play really carefully around the Mega Altaria now. But I really didn't expect him to stay in right there and potentially lose his thing if he missed an Air Slash. So I go for the Dazzling Gleam right here, and it's going to do a decent chunk to this Lantern, which shows me again that he is Scarfed. I kind of sort of expected that from the team matchup, or after the first Thunder Punch damage, but he's going to go for the Thunderbolt, gets the Para, which I feel like this is just preparing me for facing Sam next week, so that's a little depressing. I'm going to go for the Dazzling Gleam right here, and I'm going to take out the Lantern. So real quick, like 3 deaths right in a freaking row. And right here, he's going to go into his Tornadus. Now, he's going to go for the knock off my Assault Vest. I realize this. Or my Eviolite. I'm going to Dazzling Gleam here to get off damage and force him to keep taking more damage as he's switching in and out, but I get paralyzed. That sucks for a couple different reasons, because now he would have died to Life Orb, which means I could have roosted up right here instead of gone for the second Dazzling Gleam and have my Togetic at such a low amount of HP, because even without an Eviolite, it can still take a Flash Cannon from the Hydreigon. But the Tornadus does in fact go down to the Togetic, and now it all comes down to what he's going to do right here. I could not risk him setting up a Dragon Dance. Dazzling Gleam does like 60%, so I had to sack off my Togetic right there. I could not risk him setting up a Dragon Dance since my Amoonguss is dead. He does take out my Togetic with a Hyper Voice. Not the end of the world, because I do still have this thing to get off some good damage on things. So I'm going to stay in with my Reuniclus, because I can take a Hyper Voice pretty easily, and I'm going to set up the Future Sight again. I want to force in Hydreigon, so I can get it in range of a Mach Punch. So I'm going to go for Hyper Voice right here as I go for the Psyshock. Now, this Psyshock is actually really important, because now this puts him in range of dying from any move from this thing. So he has to withdraw right here and go into his Hydreigon to prevent the Future Sight from hitting and killing his Mega Altaria. I predict this perfectly. And I go for the Signal Beam. And that was fantastic, because now, since his Mega Altaria is special, my Infernape wins if I can get some damage off on that Hitmontop, which is insane. Right here, I'm going to make a switch into my Alomomola. This is kind of important, because if he had dropped a Draco right here, it would have been very difficult for me, but instead he's going to U-turn and take some Rocky Helmet damage, which is absolutely amazing, because now, even if he has the Fighting Resist Berry, or whatever have you, I can still kill him with a Mach Punch. He's going to go into his Mega Altaria and go for a Hyper Voice. I'm especially defensive, so I can take 2 of these. And I'm going to set up the Toxic on it. Put it on a timer in case he has Heal Bell. He's going to be going down within the next couple turns, and that's all that matters. And right here, I do get to be a little bit of a dick, and I'm going to just switch around with my Regenerator Core and basically make sure he dies to Toxic instead of killing something on my team. I wanted to make sure that I had my Reuniclus at enough health to be able to take a Dark Pulse from a Life Orb, Modest, Hydreigon, which I know he's not Life Orbed, but if he's Scarfed, then I can definitely take one, and that's what I was thinking. So I'm going to keep switching around. His Hyper Voices are doing more than what I can regenerate. However, whenever you look at it, so I was at 120 when I switched out. He's going to go for the Hyper Voice, and he's going to knock me down to 84. So whenever you think about it, realistically, I'm taking 40 points of damage instead of taking like 100 and something. So that's what I was thinking right there. He decides to switch out, and right here is where I wanted to sack off my Lomomola, but I didn't. I ended up just making a safe switch into my Reuniclus. I can live a Dark Pulse from this range, 110%. I can live it. But, I mean, I'm sorry. After this switch out, I can live it 100%. So here is where I decide to sack off my Lomomola. I wanted to get up to almost full health with my Reuniclus, so that was basically the safest play. He's gonna drop the Draco on my Lomomola and just straight up take me out. And even if he was Scarf, he could take me out with that Draco, so it wasn't that surprising because Hydreigon is stupid strong. But I'm gonna go into my Reuniclus because I can live a Dark Pulse. And since I think he's Scarfed, I don't think he'll be able to stay in and go for another Draco. So what I do right here is I actually go for the Shadow Ball. It was my safest play in case he was bluffing the Scarf and he was actually Expert Belt, which I know Sly likes to do. So I'm going to get the crit on the Shadow Ball. It didn't matter because Toxic was going to take him out anyway, and Shadow Ball did like a minimum of like 23%. So right here he's going to go into his Eddie Gordo, the Hitmontop, which I think is an absolutely amazing name. Get the Intimidate, and right here is where he has to go for another Toxic. Now that's what I was saying about before, to where if he hadn't had to click Toxic right there, he could have gotten a little bit more damage off on me, and it could have been a little bit better for him. I'm going to go for the Psyshock right here. Get some good damage off on it, and now I win. 110% I win, no matter what. No matter how many switches he makes to get Intimidates on my Infernape, I win. Because all I have to do is I have to click Mach Punch against the Hydreigon, and at -2 I can still kill it. He's going to go for the Endeavor, which that made my panties wet. I love that play. That was an absolutely amazing play. I went for a Signal Beam right here in case he decided to switch into his Hydreigon to get the resistance on the Psychic, and maybe try to win by switching out and getting Intimidates and things like that, but it was a kind of an over prediction, but not really too bad because I wanted to make sure I could win no matter what. And if I'd clicked Psychic, I would have had a little bit harder of a time. Or Psyshock, I'm sorry. He's going to take me out to close combat. He gets a crit. It doesn't matter whatsoever. But now, all I have to do is go into my Infernape. Finally, all I have to do is go into my Infernape and I win. Infernape, come on, dude. I've not had fun with you this season. Just show me that you can pick up this win for me. I'm gonna go for the Flare Blitz because I'm not intimidated. It will definitely kill it. The recoil won't be that big of a deal. And I take out the Hitmontop, and I was so happy because that Hitmontop was the only thing stopping my Infernape from killing things because of Intimidate. And now he's just going to go into his Hydreigon, and he is 110% dying from this Mach Punch, no matter what. Unless I misclick, which I didn't, I clicked Mach Punch, I kill his Hydreigon, and the Hydreigon goes down, and I win 1-0 with Infernape getting the last 2 kills of the game. That made me really happy because I was kind of having doubts about me picking up Infernape, but this just goes to show that I'm starting to learn how to use it. So this game went 7 different ways and had me 7 different types of emotional, from the Paralyze hacks on Togetic. It might not seem like a big deal, but it kind of was because I got a lot of extra damage on me that I didn't want to take. Him missing the Toxic, the Future Sight kill on Roserade. There was just so much. Me over predicting with my Amoonguss. There was so much in this game that just had my emotions going up and down. But ultimately, I think I kept a level head through the entire thing and saved my Infernape for last, which is what I had to do. And I think I played this game pretty well. And Sly is an absolutely amazing battler, so there isn't a lot to say that I had a chance because it was 50-50. He's that good of a battler. Like, you have no idea what he can bring. He always brings at least one cool set. He brought Endeavor Hitmontop. This match was absolutely amazing. Sly is a fantastic battler, and I had an amazing time. And I'm really looking forward to facing him next season because I refuse to get relegated. I'm not going down. I just won't. But this game was awesome. I had so much fun. If you guys enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like. Also, go check out Sly's channel. He's an awesome dude. He deserves so much more appreciation for his channel than what he gets. So I would really appreciate if you go over to his channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, tell him I sent you, tell him you love him, tell him that his face is gorgeous, all that fun stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video. For the next week of the PPL, we are facing Sam Fufu, the guy who's undefeated, the guy who is making everybody shit themselves. So, yeah. I'm going to go and get on out of here. Hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.